very humble beginning, and to buy that tiny little place in Oxford between the ladies' underwear and Oxfam, that concrete corridor, and we saved all our money, and it was in full recession where interest rate was at 18%. People have forgotten that.
Sure.
So we mortgaged our house completely and bought that horrible little corridor, between the ladies' underwear and Oxfam. And we created, of course, the Quat'Saisons.
Sure.
It's a cheap red and white tablecloth, cheap Prince of Paris on the wall, and a cockerel plastic in front of the restaurant, so they all knew it would be French. Great piece of branding, actually. Oh, yes. And then, of course, the kitchen was no bigger than that.
Tiny kitchen.
Yeah, and the corrugated iron. I mean, it means so hot during the summer, and so cold. It would actually, the ice would set in my kitchen. And I remember because I had the 1956 oven with no bottom. There was no bottom. I put trays, and it was an enamel oven, full of chips. So really, it really couldn't be more humble than that. But there, we won all our awards.
Sure.
All our awards were won at this tiny little place. So it must have been special a bit.
It was special. I remember it very well.
Yeah. I know who I am. And I think after 40 years in this country, I think I have gained from both nations, and I like that. And what I gain from you is the ability to laugh about myself, not too much, because that's very difficult. It's un-French as well, but I think I've done very well. I can laugh a little bit. I think I know how to lose now, but not too much either. Whereas the British are famous for look at football. That's since 1966.
Stop
It's
it.
a long time. I can listen what you speak. As it happened here, you're interviewing me, so you want me to say something. But if you speak, you'll be amazed how good listener I am. Whereas the French speak at the same time as they listen. That's why there's so many wars. Listen to French radio. You cannot, it's incomprehensible. They both talk at the same time. It's frightening, it's annoying, it's you don't understand a thing. And they're very high pitch as well. So all this thing, and actually what I love the most in England is and that's your wealth. And it's certainly the wealth of today, which will be even more so evident tomorrow. It's the extraordinary effort to have a totally integrated multicultural society, which are going to be the wealth and the richness of Great Britain. And culinary speaking, it has already happened. What do you think London is the #1 capital in Europe now about food?
Sure.
Why? It's made full of different ethnic groups, who bring their own culture, their own richness, their tapestry of their knowledge, into the food scene. And it's amazing.
Sure.
You cannot have that even in America. Certainly not in Paris.
No. I think
Yeah.
it's absolutely true. And we've seen, it's happened in the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
This is the amazing thing. And the food scene is now so important.
Yeah. Well, one does at last realize, because Great Britain has been guilty, I mean that, of so many sins towards food. Because we have reduced food to a mere commodity, which only values and virtues are cheapness. Fast food, created by intensive farming, followed by heavy processing with all the, if you think molecular gastronomy has been invented yesterday, oh no. It has been invented 100 years ago with all the palettes of chemicals to soften food, to color food, to give it taste, to inject it with all sorts of stuff, Then we created a cheap food, which has created so much misery for the British consumer, for the British parents and public. Mm. Misery because obesity, pollution, huge environmental problem, an agriculture depending completely on chemicals. So it's something we could sort out just by eating well. Mm. And eating well can be such a joy.
And it's getting that message out there.
Voilà, but it's coming. I think really it's exciting. The chefs now, British chefs are reconnecting with the true values of food, local, seasonality. For example, seasonality. Because seasonality is the most extraordinary weaponry against all the other ills. That means if it's seasonal, it's close to home. If it's seasonal, there's plenty of it. There's a glut of it. So if there's a glut of it, it's cheaper.
Sure.
Half of the price, often. When you buy a strawberry in the middle of January, you're going to pay 3 times more the price, create lots of pollution, then you have to clean up the pollution, then that strawberry will not taste of very much.
Sure.
Okay? So why don't you wait for the season? My God, it's worth it. Okay? So better seasonality, better taste, better texture, better color, better flavor, and better nutrients. Because you know very well all nutrients die or shrivel or lose half of their power through aging. Okay, so when something is 8 days old or 7 days, it's not the same as a fresh fruit that you get. And then, of course, by embracing seasonality, that farm, that little village, is more likely to keep its post office,
Sure.
its little bank,
Sure.
its little life.
Sure.
If we, as consumers, start to buy more local food and more seasonal food. So you see, the impacts and the mistakes we've done in Great Britain is really to make food as a, just something we stuff into our mouths, that we chew, that we swallow, and we defecate. Whereas it's so much more than that, so much more than that. And we're discovering it now. We are reconnecting with our food. Our food is part of our consciousness. The consumer is much more knowledgeable.
Well, you're certainly setting the path here, that's for sure. Both with the vegetables, the gardens, and of course the food. I'm getting hungry. Should we go and eat?
Yeah, that was very nice.